Hi, this is Miss Ward, and welcome to week 4 of interpersonal communication. This week we're going to be looking at chapter 3, and I think you'll be happy to see the new link. I found our online chapter, but it has a nicer layout that you can scroll easily through. You can click on things and it will explain definitions for you. So I'm just going to kind of use this as our overview for this week. We will be talking about language. So our first little nice clue here is if we want to find out about verbal expressions, there are 4 things that verbal expressions can do. They help us to observe, share our thoughts, our feelings, and our needs, to share our observations as well. So when I express my observation, I might say, wow, I just had a sip of this and recognize that this tea is hot. I'm observing my world. Then another one, I may want to express my thoughts, how I feel about something. Thoughts is what I'm thinking, and then feeling is next, expressing my feelings. You can, read through all of this, and it's great when you're expressing your feelings, such as anger. It can be difficult to do, and these can be obviously positive and negative. And one of the things that our text doesn't really talk about a lot, but that are functions of silence. Think about what people have done to express their feelings. Anybody ever had somebody give you the silent treatment? Oh, it's the worst thing, right? Have you ever done the silent treatment for someone? Silent treatment is when you just sit there silently and you won't give any feedback. So you're not sharing your feelings. Somebody might ask you and you just go, I'm fine, and cut it down. So one of the important things with effective communication is to learn to express our feelings and to find words to verbally communicate these. With our electronic communication, I'm sure you sometimes find it difficult to understand, what does Miss Ward even mean? What do I mean when I post an assignment? I get questions every time, every week. People will say, did you mean this or did you mean that? When things are online and mediated in that way, it can be difficult. So, here's the problem too is if I share this with you through a piece of paper and you don't get immediate feedback because you don't know. That's why I give my work cell for people to text and even to set up video appointments, because sometimes I think it's important for you to hear me go, no, don't overthink it. Yeah, you're right on track, or a little bit more of this. So that kind of helps. So if you need it, if you need that information, as you see right here in the text, it says, waiting for a response could end up negatively affecting your emotional state. So we also use verbal communication then to express our needs. I need to understand this. I need, that. And again, sometimes people don't confirm or they might use disconfirmation with messages when they give you negative feedback. And here's a little table. It gives you some ideas of what you're thinking about with the 4 different types of verbal messages. They have a fun little idea, a little exercise, talking about how do you feel about texting. We don't really have this as an exercise, but it's a fun part of the chapter to read. And then we go on to language. We're, continuing with it. Language has a relationship aspect. We use it to manage our relationships. So if we're managing our relationships with language, language can actually bring us together, or what would be the opposite of that? Yep, you've got it. Language can actually pull us apart. And so there's a difference in supportive messages and unsupportive messages. So you want to think about what kind of messages are you sending those? Do you feel comfortable to share communication? Sometimes we've been in relationships, and we were encouraged to not communicate because we got unsupportive messages that make people respond defensively, can separate us. I think I have shared before, when my father would get angry, there would be unsupportive messages that if I said anything, he'd snap at me. And so I knew immediately I had to stop, so that it became a win-lose. And I do think it's important in thinking about the win-lose climate in a relationship. I'm seeing that a lot more in our country right now, politically, and it's, if I believe this, then I can't believe that. So if you're a good person, then you can't support this. And it sort of creates, again, a win-lose, which is a really false narrative, because nobody's ever going to like everything about anybody. And it's something we need to think about. And instead of saying, well, if you support this, you're wrong, maybe we need to rethink that and think about, these are some unsupportive messages here in the text. Global labels. You're a liar. Giving, your whole personal self becomes a label. I just stick it on your whole globally, even though you maybe told me an untruth once. How about sarcasm? Sarcasm can shut down people, because there's always a dig at the basis of most jokes. Dragging up the past, also called gunny sacking, when you're having a conversation and then somebody throws up what you did. Well, 2 months ago you didn't support me in this. 2 months ago you something something. Again, you. So one thing to work on, if you want to work on effective verbal messages, would be to think about I messages. I feel upset when this occurs, instead of you're making me feel upset. Do you see the difference in you and I? I feel upset when this happens means maybe it's not your fault at all. So that's something, again, with verbal messages. And then threats. So what are the key takeaways from the chapter? Here they are. So there's lots of things. Language helps us express our observations, our thoughts, our feelings, and our needs without words. Have you ever had, a little tiny child near you and and they're crying, and you say, wait, use your words. Tell me. And so that's what language helps us do. And then it's very powerful. Language can confirm and disconfirm. It credits messages, whether we support people or we don't, based upon what we say about them. So language is power. And power is an important concept that we are continuing to talk about through this whole semester, because communication is power. And my goal for everybody taking this class is that you will be more powerful, not to stamp down and crush down people, but instead to be a voice to help and uplift and motivate our world for positive change. And then the last two about language has dynamic meanings that are changing, and language is relational. Again, it can bring people together or disconnect them. So I hope you enjoyed this link this week. And remember that we have our live session Tuesdays 8 a.m. And 8 p.m. Or text me 828-237-1456 and talk to you this week.